What's up, guys? All right, we are now live. All right, kind of screen. Oh, wrong thing. My fault. Okay, I'm gonna share this. All right, I just wanna watch this. It's kind of interesting. I bought a wrecked Aston Martin.
Get that back into place.
Yeah, that looks.
Now, does that look good?
It's starting on the door.
Yeah, I'm going to start wrapping the door. So far, so good. I think we've got 18 hours left. We had just over 18 hours left, but I had to hold fire on the front door whilst the guys from Screensaver removed the front glass. And then my dad cleared off on the front door whilst the guys from Screensaver removed the front glass. And then my dad cleared off the remaining broken part of the glass that was left on the rear quarter. There's still so much to do and it can almost feel overwhelming. We've got the parts from Aston Martin, but now that we've got some parts, we should be able to make even more progress. Front splitter. And it'd be wrong if I didn't upgrade a few of the stuff whilst I was there. Here's the A-pillar, and we got it in carbon fibre. Both sides, we thought we'd upgrade it, but now with this, we can actually see where it's meant to go. So this shape, the shape of this, when we put this on, we'll be able to see where that panel is supposed to go to, so we can bend the panel back to this pillar trim. The price of all these parts as well, and in here, and we've still got to go get some more because we couldn't fit the bonnet inside, actually wasn't bad at all. And we're like really in the green with this car at the minute, but it all depends on that roof. Before we get on to repairing that roof, the new crash can arrived. And I was eager to get things moving on the front end. I can now bolt the new crash can back up to the chassis and then move on to more brackets. These are the brackets which hold the smaller radiators, which are just in front of the wheels. One of them's actually an oil cooler for the engine.
Hey Matthew, instead of you being my apprentice, which I know you love doing, I'm having Liam teaching him how to, well, that's not really a hard job, but that's an apprentice job. Undo that, pull on that side.
Do you know what an apprentice job means? It means a job he doesn't want to do, so he gives it to the apprentice.
No, I like rebuilding stuff.
So no, 8 mil or 10 mil?
10 mil.
And now that we've got a new radiator, Liam and my dad can transfer the fan off the old one onto the new one because the fan is actually all okay. And whilst they're doing that, I'm still bolting brackets to the car. Right, this is on, that's on. We're missing a lot of parts because we've ordered a lot of stuff, and then Aston Martin have said some stuff can be on back order and some is not. So we're going to be waiting for stuff, and we're hoping it comes with enough time for us to build it all. And because of that situation, it means we're doing things in weird orders. Hence why now we've gone back onto wrapping the car. Me and Liam are doing the passenger side door, and my dad's moved on to the front end, replacing more broken parts. Now, of course, the main worry is that this car doesn't start, and we still don't know why. And as most of the Aston Martin technicians are still learning about this new Aston Martin software, even they were unsure when we asked them. But what they did say, and what I think makes sense, is that we should get as much stuff bolted and plugged into the car as possible. That way it eliminates if it's not starting because something is unplugged. And if it still doesn't start after that, then we're going to have to investigate further. Right, this is our 4-ton body repair kit. The goal here, the inner skin of this roof panel is actually okay, which is like, it's made it, it's good and it's bad at the same time because it's good, we don't want to damage it, but it's also going to be hard because we need to push the roof just up a bit because it's misshapen at the back. So we're going to have a go, but the worst thing is when we push it and we need something to push off, which we're going to hopefully make this center console something to push off, just to kind of shape that roof back. I know people are going to moan and say, oh, the strength of it's gone. Well, actually, the strength of it is fine because there's no damage to the inner structure. We're essentially just fixing cosmetic damage, just like a dent on the quarter panel. But this is a little bit trickier than your normal dent. And before we start trying to push it back out, we've got to know where we're going to push it out to. And we should be able to see that from this rear quarter glass. And the bottom is fine. I'll look at the positive here because the
I'm gonna tell my friend I'm
So
lying.
now we can see how far out it actually is. The glass is meant to
I
sit
fucking know
flush.
my login.
Now we can put on the carbon trim, compare it to the other side, and we can see what else is out.
I think we can do it. We just need to find a way how we can bend it in.
And speaking of bending, my dad's picked up the rail and the motor from the seat. He's going to start disassembling it in hopes that he can bend it back straight. Otherwise, we've got to buy a whole new seat rail, over £3,000 worth. He's put the rail in a hydraulic press, and he's hopefully going to work it back straight without snapping it. He's even had to put a bit of copper over the threads so he don't damage them. Had some advice, and because the inner structure is pretty much okay, what we're going to do, because we don't want to damage that, we want to only get to this outer structure, so we're going to have to drill a hole through the inner structure and then push something through that hole to try and get this part outwards. I dread the comment section on this. Okay, so this isn't your conventional way of fixing this roof. And to get this back to OEM, really you should replace the outer skin of it. But the problem is, we can't buy that. And really, the damage isn't bad enough for us to want to replace it. We think it can be repaired. So plan A is for us to drill a small hole on the inside, so then we can get something behind the outer skin and hopefully knock it back into place. It's going to take a lot of hammering and manipulation to get this right. But remember, this piece of trim doesn't have to look great. The rear quarter window's got to sit flush to it, and the A-pillar trim has to clip into it. Then everything's just got to line up around it. The outer skin is actually steel, whilst the body's aluminium, and steel's a little bit easier to manipulate without it breaking or snapping. Now that we've got the A-pillar trim in, we can put the rear glass in to see where it all lines up. And it still looks like the glass isn't sitting flush with the back of the car, which means we need to do some more bending. So we've got our Mr. Push in action, and then we're going to start pushing out the damage. But first, we're going to make sure we take some measurements to make sure we can get the right-hand side exactly the same as the left-hand side. Then the bending begins. That's really good. Right, the one thing you can't really bend is glass. So this is the be-all and end-all. It's like,
Yeah.
if this fits,
Oh shit, you're wrong.
we're good. And down goes the rear glass again. Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah, man. Oh,
That before
that was so high up, yeah. Look at that. I reckon we might need to go tiny bit. What do you reckon? Tiny bit. And would you believe it? It's
I'm gonna
actually
turn on
working.
my.
Just a little bit more
Is this
manipulation to
laggy
get this
for you?
glass sitting
Can't
flush.
tell.
It's a long process. Taking the glass out, bending, then putting it back in and checking if it sits flush. And we also don't want to damage anything else in the process. But eventually, we got somewhere. The rear glass finally fits flush, and the A-pillar carbon trim also is sitting nicely on the car. We then put the rear brake light in to make sure that all lined up, and it was good use. It might not look the prettiest under the panels, but it's doing the job it needs to do. 10 hours left, and I'm absolutely done with wrapping. So we've got Kian here, who wrapped the GTR from Keys' Customs, and he's just going to absolutely smash out because the speed he can do it out to me is next level. I know we're cheating, but it's going to be a better job and it's going to be faster if he's doing it, and then we can concentrate on doing more mechanical stuff. My dad's gone to get parts, Liam's gone to get a haircut or something. 9 hours, 59 left. Kian's about to smash this out. I reckon he probably have the majority of this side done with like, what, 8 hours remaining?
Yeah, how fast do you think you can do it?
Oh yeah, I should probably do it in 8 hours. Let's go. Kian is back. And now we can make much more progress with the wrapping of the car. Because Kian's been doing it for years, he's a lot quicker and more experienced than I'm doing it. He started with the driver's side rear quarter, then he trims up the wrap and tucks it into the places where you can't see it. Then he's quickly onto the driver's side door. And for the side skirt, he's applying knifeless tape, which means now he can cut the wrap underneath without using his knife. He wraps over the tape and then pulls it from underneath, which will cut the wrap. Then more parts arrive. Liam's here with the bonnet. But before we install the bonnet, my dad's got to put on 2 brand new hinges, which we always replace if the bonnet's ever been damaged, which will help us with lining it up later. This bracket here, look at this bracket. this bracket on here to hold the wing on, all it is glued on to the car. That ain't even, that's not weld, that's glue. And it's missing on that side. But the good thing is we don't need to weld it then, we just order it and Mansour put it on, which is, I don't know. That just seems to be the way cars are going now. Everything's panel bonded or just glued on. Again, it's lightweight and it's cheap. So why not? And this whole time, we've still been trying to work out how the car ended up with this type of damage. So it might give us a clue. The one thing that's going to be interesting when we check this out on Car Vertical is that the previous owners is going to be the interesting part, because if this never got to a customer, it shouldn't show as any previous owners. So that means I'll be the first owner. But the one thing that kind of contradicts that is that the insurance is paid out for it. So if the insurance is paid out for it, surely the insurance owns the car before it got sent to me. So it could say 2 or it could say 0. So I'm going to check it out on Car Vertical, where I can either put the VIN in or the registration plate. Now the registration plate for this car was wrote on the back window. A 73 plate car. So this was registered late 2023 in the UK. And when we bring up the check, I can see that there's been no mileage fraud, there's no outstanding finance, but the car has been registered as damaged. One owner, 0824, that's me. So there hasn't been any previous owners of the car. Wait, what's going on here? It's been damaged before the car's got registered. Look, 2023, car's
Damn.
damaged.
I guess it's like
Car's
did fall off a truck.
manufactured, car's registered on the road in January.
How can you damage before it was manufactured?
No, this brings back to our theory of that it got crashed and then registered on the road to claim through the insurance.
So there's something dodgy going on.
Something has gone wrong with this car. Look, it's marked damage before it's been put on the road.
We've never seen that.
How can the car be classed as an insurance write-off before it's even been registered on the road? Doesn't make any sense. If the insurance is paid out on a car, surely that means it was insured to drive on the road. But how can you insure a car to drive on the road that isn't even registered yet? Something just isn't adding up with this car. But the good news is, I'm the first owner. And another thing which is good with Car Vertical, if you check a car out which has been crash damaged, sometimes you can even see the photos of the car when it was at the auction place, which can really help when it comes to the bargain. So remember, if you want to check your car out,
Guess what?
friend's car or
Guess what?
car potentially about to buy, click the link in the description box below and use code
Uh,
MAC for discount on that check as well. All the rest of the stuff that we need to do is probably
Just
going to be
kidding.
underneath the car. We're missing the seatbelt, so we can't put the back in. We haven't got the airbag, so we can't put the airbag in. We need to get this guy in the ramp, and then we're going to start doing that fuel line, the drop links, and but there's still a few jobs to do before that. I'm going to take off all the trims that are on underneath the body, the seals and the sound deadening and the body grills, and then fit them all onto the new bonnet now that it's wrapped. All of this is held in with clips. Nothing comes up with clips because, well, it's brand new. And to be fair, we are making some good progress. But we still have the doubt that this car won't start after doing all of this work. My dad's now reassembling the seat rail with the motor, and we'll soon find out whether it actually works. It's still a little bent, but I guess we'll find out. Then he can fit it back to the bottom of the seat. And whilst he's doing that, Keane's still wrapping parts, and I'm about to attempt to put a window in. I'm now the new windscreen guy because we've got like 5 hours left. Never put in a screen before, but I've read the instructions. The instructions said, first off, I should prime the area. Then I'm going to need some windscreen adhesive. Prep it for you, Matt. Apparently it's got to be dry. Right, I reckon I'm going to go for it. Then apply the windscreen adhesive.
Let's go with confidence. First windscreen you fit.
Dominic Heisler smells like
You're
ass.
just rubbing it on, yeah.
Yeah.
You've then got to apply the primer to the glass as well.
Have you fit a windscreen before? Oh, do you know what?
Transit custom.
Is he doing it right or not?
Yeah, you've got
Guys, whatever you do not subscribe to what's his name?
You get yourself out of it, concentrate when you're rapping. How much do you put on there, man? I just pulled it out and
Cheeto Puff. Yeah, his name is Cheeto Puff.
Push the glass into
Do
place.
not. It's
Making sure
not
it sits nice
Cheeto
and flat.
Puff.
Then
It's
force it all
Cheeto
down.
and then it's not
I
puff,
think we did an
it's
okay job.
puff with
Right,
one F.
we're doing the rear screen next. You're going
I think I have
I think what we should do is put all this trim in first to make sure that all our roof manipulation and window putting in and everything like that and air intake all fits. So I think then the bolts have got to go in for the rear quarter here next, and then start putting in all the trim. 4 hours remaining.
Go.
Now with that rear glass in, I can bolt the rear
I gotta
quarter
stop.
and slide in this air guide, which isn't an intake for the engine because the engine is obviously at the front of the car. This is a new system on the DB12 where the air gets guided down the side of the car and then into the bootlet through the rear spoiler. All for downforce. Whether it actually works or not, I guess I'll find out when I drive it. That's if we ever get it started.
It's getting tight now, isn't it?
The good news is this carbon trim along with the glass is all sitting nice and flush with the front of the car. But we still haven't received the carbon trim to the other side. Kian finished wrapping the rear bumper and is now onto the roof.
Bro, her hole is so tight. I can barely fit it in.
Right, roof is wrapped, carbon trim's on, window is in. Kian has smashed out the wrapping. That saved us a lot of time.
Guys,
Still
if you
have
made it
much
this far in the
time
video,
left.
make sure to
I'm gonna
smash
jump
me, not the like button.
off the
Smash
wrapping
me.
again now because there's still a few more bits to go, and try and concentrate on actually see where
My
we get
friend
this
Rain
car
has
started.
autism.
The interior we're gonna ignore for now as well. But remember, the fuel lines underneath is broken. The engine mount underneath is broken. To fix them, we've got to get it in the ramp. But we do have the parts. So let's move this in, and then that's one step to actually getting this car started, which we still don't know whether it does or not. Let's get it off this ramp and into there. I've got a theory. Normally when you put the ignition on a car, it primes the fuel pump. But on the DB12, the fuel lines were broken. So if we were putting the ignition on and it was trying to prime the fuel pumps, it would realise it'd have no fuel pressure. And maybe that's the reason why this car isn't started. I guess we'll find out. So that metal fuel line, which is broken and all squashed up under the back, leads all the way up to this part here. And we have ordered a new one. But this is it. Goes all the way up there. I think this black line is fine. It's this line that's broken. So I'm hoping we can disconnect it from here. Maybe we're going to be able to slide that out and down.
Okay, it's minute 17:30. Guys, I want to suck all your cocks. Okay, don't look at me like that.
Actually, I only have 29 miles worth of fuel in it.
With the fuel pack
Last 3D
disconnected
printed
from the
dummy.
front of the car, we can now
That's like
send
really
it
cool.
up and go to the back.
I should try it. If you can see it.
Then we've got to slide it out all the clips.
I don't know if you
so we
guys
get
can
it
see
away
it.
from the car. This metal tray is also going to be in the way of getting it off as well. So that needs to be removed. And it also looks like the subframe might be in the way. So we're now going to have to loosen the bolts to the front subframe
I can't see.
just so we can lower it down
Put
a bit. To get that
My
fuel
Mac
line
upside
out.
down.
It still wasn't going lower. Putting the bolts on the other side of the subframe as well. Aston Martin have now been taking lessons from Audi. Oh my god! I've just seen where that subframe bolt is, and it ain't good. Yeah.
You joking?
Oh, behind that. Before we remove this wishbone bolt, because when you turn this bolt, it adjusts the tracking on the front. So we want to make sure we get it back in the exact same spot. And with that bolt now removed, we can move the wishbone out of the way so we can access the final bolt for the subframe to lower it down and hopefully get out our fuel line. Yeah! There we go. All of that, get that. And then we're going to use the other one. Good bit of scrap. Now we can slide the new fuel pipe into place. Sliding it just above the subframe, removing any broken clips on the chassis, fitting new clips in place. Moving it to the fitting at the back of the car. Now the car can come back down and it can connect it up at the front. It just slides in place and clips in. Job done. This one up here, which is not connected to here, we did order it. This one, this is all the only bit that's missing. This one clip here. This pipe to replace this whole thing. Up, down there. and above this gearbox to the fuel tank. So to replace this part, it's a bit of a job. I don't know where.
I'll get the gun, you
know.
Suck it, Gongy.
Somewhere at the top there. So what would be nice if we can do is if we replace this fitting and put it onto there.
That's what my
and
room
then
looks
we can
like.
fit that to that.
Oh, there's one in the
I
chair.
think we can do that. The answer is no. These fittings are like high pressure fittings, and we don't want to risk anything, especially with the fuel line. We're going to have to replace that whole fuel pipe, which means getting the car down and finding the fuel tank. It's going to be behind this, isn't it? I would say behind it, and it was right. It was behind there. It's double-sided tape.
I'll be back in a second.
I'm not joking.
It's double-sided tape down. My hand is that. Right, here's our fuel line. Here. This fuel line looks like it's connected directly to the pump. So first thing, we need to disconnect it. Okay, that's out. We're going to tie some string to it, and when we pull it out, we can tie the string to the new one and pull that string back through, so hopefully it follows the same route and should be able to flip it back on. This is my Italian border string, and now I've got to tie the knot on the end of this and just hope it holds out. Pull it out. We then got to send the car up so my dad can go underneath and start pulling the pipe.
Yeah? Are you ready?
The pipe was so tight between the fuel tank and the chassis of the car. It's really tight. We might be able to get it out, but getting a new one in will be impossible. Okay, so that didn't work. So we've now got to probably drop the fuel tank. Let's drop the fuel tank, the gearbox above it, and the exhaust, and the prop shaft. This is stupid. A 5-minute job has now turned into a job which could take hours. And dropping the exhaust, the gearbox, and the prop shaft would just take too long. So we need room to get the fuel line over the top of the fuel tank and down the side of it. And the fuel tank at the minute is too close to the actual chassis of the car. If we lower the subframe down, it's going to lower the subframe, not the fuel tank. But the fuel tank is just above this subframe and everything there, and it's held in with 2 straps, like arms like that. And if we can get to the bolt to lower the arms down, we should be all right. And we think if we take this off, we might be able to get to those straps to lower the fuel tank down. Fuel tank can't be that heavy because we don't think there's any fuel in it, so we should be able to get to it. So we're going to swaz this off and see if we can get to it. Swaz! Oh yeah, it's more like gearbox oil. Oh, they come from the factory leaking because mine isn't oil. No way, it's leaking oil. Or that's from when they filled it. This car's done 29 miles and it's got a leak. No way. No way. Oh yeah, it's soaked. No way it can't come out of the factory with a leak. It's actually, unless it was just residue from when they filled it. Anyway, can we get to our straps? We can. Look, here's the fuel tank. Yeah. And look, and here, up here, look, so the bolts there, lower this tank right down. Great news. So we just need to loosen those 2 strap bolts, which should lower the fuel tank just enough and away from the chassis. And once we've done that, we should be able to pull the pipe out because it'll have enough clearance to go over the top of the fuel tank. This time, my dad's tying the Italian string to the end of the fuel line, and I'm going to pull it up through the car, which seemed to work, but it was still pretty tight. But that's the broken fuel line out. Now I've got to go back underneath and tie the Italian string to the new fuel line. Okay, start going up. And my dad's now got to pull the string through. Okay, hang on. It was such a tight fit.
It's gone red. Oh. Yes, red.
Yeah. And we didn't want to break the pipe.
Red. It's going. Got it.
Yes! Oh my god! Okay. We've done it. If Aston Martin are watching and they ever need to replace that pipe, don't worry. You don't need to drop the gearbox. All I needed to do now was to connect the pipe up at the top, put it all back together, and go underneath and connect it at the bottom. Yes. 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 Oh my god. Okay, that clips up there, and then that we're just going to tighten up all through there. We're all buttoned up all underneath there, which is good. We've got a few more jobs left underneath here. Time is cutting it short, and the car's still far from done. We've got a drop link to change there. I've got that. We've got a drop link to change here, which I've half took out already. I just need to change those two. But the main thing is this engine mount up here, which I have got a new one right here. And it's literally only 3 bolts underneath. And it looks like then it just gets locked in with a bolt across the top, which, I can just about see at the top there. So I think we can swazzle them out and then hopefully hold up the engine with a bit of wood in the gearbox mount. I know you're not supposed to, but I think we can do that. So there's 3 bolts underneath the engine mount holding it in. First, we're loosening them off, and then we can start trying to slide out the remaining part of this engine mount. There's then 2 bolts which are kind of pinching the engine mount to the side of the engine. We're loosening them off. Then we need to support the engine from underneath. The block of wood does the job just fine. Out comes the broken engine mount.